Good day, South Africa. Goeiedag, South Africa. Dumelang, South Africa. Welcome to another episode of Dissect with Lem. In this episode, I will be doing a cast assessment of Survivor South Africa, the Philippines. And joining me in this episode, I've got Hannes Lerm. Hannes, wait, Hannes.
Yes, Lem, great to be on the show with you. A little bit more about myself. I'm an avid runner and I love traveling. I'm a people's person. One day, hopefully, I'll also be on Survivor. And it would be good to speak about the cast tonight and see who's bringing what to the table.
Hannes, didn't we, when you and I went to go for the Survivor auditions, did we not show you away and said, yeah, you're a diabetic, you're not allowed to be on the show?
That was a few years back, still a diabetic, but we can always keep on dreaming.
That's good, man. That's good to have dreams. Okay, so you guys at home, if you want to join the conversation, you can get us on hashtag DWL Survivor. That's for Dissect with Lem. Or you can go for the hashtag, just hashtag Dissect with Lem. I'll pick you up there as well. Just for you guys listening, if you're listening on iTunes or some other RSS feed, then this does not involve you. But if you're watching on YouTube, we'll discuss each contestant, and then we'll bring a photo ups and show you who we're talking about. I would also just like to say that we don't have any inside information, or it's no insider trading. We have the same information that you have. We've got the bios that was released by Mnet and Channel 24. So this is just based on that short description. It's a first impression video. Obviously, a lot can happen. We don't try to gaze into the crystal ball. We're just telling you, what we think from first impressions. Okay. So I think, honest, let's just cut to the chase. Let's start. We're going to do them alphabetically. The first one up is Ace. Ace is a 28-year-old graphic designer, famous for being the wildcard entry, for standing on the N1 on a billboard for, I think, almost 3 days until he got into the show. Hannes, what's your opinion on Ace?
I think it's great, it shows really determination, and I think with determination and grit, you can get very far in Survivor, and standing on a billboard for 3 days definitely shows that he has the determination. So, I wish him all of the best.
Yes, I think I agree with you. I think Ace is going to be good. He's already outlasted people once, and that's a third of a game. Look, it's bad for anybody to get voted out. That's a game, but I would honestly be heartbroken if I vote out Ace first. If he gets voted out first, he would have been on that billboard just as long as he was in the game. If you just think about that, that would be heartbreaking. But I'm high on Ace. I think he's gonna do good. And I really look forward to seeing play. What's your verdict on him just overall?
I think, yes, like I said, I think he looks like a very versatile player. And with the determination and, the things which he brings, I think he should be one to watch, definitely.
Okay, that's good. So you think he's going to make it far? Okay.
Quite far, yes.
Okay, second up we have Annalisa. Annalisa, she's 43 and she's a caterer. What's your opinion on Annalisa?
Look, I think with Survivor, living with people you do not know in a harsh, sometimes hostile environment, it's very important to have a practical skill. Catering is one of the things which you can use. You can tell the tribe, listen, I know how to make 20 different things with coconuts or with this fruits, or you can use this for that, So it's a very useful skill which she brings to the tribe, and I think she will be an asset, definitely.
Yes, 100% I'm with you. I think if you look at the other professions, now you've got graphic designers, you've got logistic manager, you've got a doctor. Very rarely are these professions actually handy in a setup like Survivor. But if you go out and say, listen, I'm a professional cook, I'll cook for you for our tribe for whenever. People are going to be like, we have a cook. We're not going to get rid of her. And so I think she's definitely going to survive the first stages of the game. And then from there, she's well placed to make the game. I also want to point something out. Usually in Survivor, the people who have kids go farther and they do well. I think it's the empathy that they bring to the table, and I think somebody like Annalisa. She said she's had, I think, 1 or 2 kids. I'm not exactly sure. I think the fact that she has kids, she's got that soft side and that ear to listen to these young people. And I think that's going to be a strong asset for her as well.
Definitely, I agree with you.
Okay. Thirdly, we have Shan Mei. Am I saying her name correctly? Shan Mei. Sorry, Shan Mei. Shan Mei, interestingly, I think I uploaded my application video and she uploaded her like a day before, a day after, because when you were watching mine, hers would be one of the suggestions. So we saw a video on YouTube She's all the way from Bloemfontein, and she's 28. She's an architect, but she's working as I think, an office assistant or a administrative clerk or something like that. Hannes, where do you weigh in on Shan Mei?
I think, coming from the Free State, I think Shan Mei is a host of people, what you see is what you get. A classic boerenmeisie, and I think she can stand her man. And I think that's being one of the reasons. And again, if you look at the video, also on the Mnet video, it shows that she is physically fit, and that could especially be an asset as well. So again, I think she might even make it to the top 10.
You make a good point on her fitness. I think she's one of those people, if they ask her, are you smart? You say, no, I'm not an architect. Are you fit? No, I can't build a shelter, but I'll hold the bamboo while you build a shelter. I think if she can just downplay her physical attributes and her intelligence, I could easily see her, like you say, making it at least to the merge, definitely.
Yes.
Okay. Next up we have John. John is a 30. I think you pronounce it. It spells like Jean, but she said in the video it's John. John is a 34-year-old radio presenter. Hannes, what's your opinion on John?
Look, I think anyone who is a radio presenter is an extrovert, and so again, one of the key components which she brings to the table would be people skills, and she would need to utilize that to her advantage in order to get people on her side and to effectively work with people. If she can do that, then I believe even she can make it very far in the game.
I wish we would have seen her video like from somebody like someplace like YouTube. I don't think we've got enough information on her. What I do pick up from her, she said she works behind the scenes, and from there she assists the radio, what do you call it, the disc DJs, the people on air. So I think if she can employ that kind of survivor strategy, where she's got, I must always want to say, behind the scenes kind of strategy, where she said, listen, I'm going to make the plans, but I'm going to have you execute it, so she doesn't have any blood on her hands and other people make the moves. I think that would be a best strategy. She openly says that she's a big, strong woman. I think she's going to be an asset in the challenges. So I think she can be an asset to a tribe, and I'm worried a bit about the social game, but I hope that she goes deep.
Definitely, I'm with you.
Okay. Next up, we've got Josie. Now, Josie is a 28-year-old travel rider. Yeah, she's a beautiful blonde girl. She's young, 28, but I believe she's married, so she's already taken. Hannes, you have no shot of her. She's out of your league. What do you think of her?
I think listening to the video and listening to what she says her hobbies are, and being a travel writer as a profession, it definitely fits the survivor profile. Being outdoors, seeing places, exploring, not afraid of what is in the outside world. That is definitely key skills, which if she could utilize that into her game, I think Josie also has a chance to make it really far.
The only thing I'm concerned about is she's comfortable outdoors. She speaks about her relationships, like she's traveled, she's got that life experience that I want to say is more for a 28-year-old than a regular 28-year-old. I'm just a little bit afraid that she's a bit naive. I think she's a bit trusting, and I think if she lands up in the wrong alliance, I think she might be set up for a big blindside. Do you agree on this?
It might be so we'll have to wait and see.
What a cop-out answer. It might be so, we'll wait and see. Now, next up, this one has caused, I want to say controversy, but it's been a big talking point on social media, if those of you do follow it. Katinka die kat. What's her Twitter name? Katinka Kat.
Katinka Kat, as it reg is.
Yes.
If I remember.
Yes, she's a 19-year-old social media influencer. Now, Hannes, you had some opinion about being a social media influencer. Can you please tell the people at home what you told me about what you think of her profession?
Well, I think looking at Katinka's video, she said that she studied, I think it was film, and now she's not studying film anymore. So, I mean, to study film, to be a producer, it's a great thing. So, always just go on with what you're doing. Yes, we'll see how far the social media influencer brings her in the game. Definitely she does have social skills. You can see it. One doesn't have thousands of followers on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram if you do not contribute something. So she's got good people skills. Her age might count against her. Lem, I don't know if you would like to say something about that.
Yes, I would definitely like to say something about that. If you think most Afrikaans cultures and African cultures, respect for your elders is a big thing. Okay, like we all know that. That's it. And there's a lot of Afrikaans and African people on this cast, and I'm skeptical about her ability to make relationship with these people, because we'll get to these people later, but there's some of the cast members who've had grandchildren. I mean, they've had kids that are older than she is. So if you put yourself in that person's shoes, if you have somebody playing who's younger than your child, I think you slightly disregard their opinion. I also think she lacks the life experience. Like you say, she's only 19 years old. And I think she's a bit naive. I think she will go down as a fun character. I believe she'll be one of those people who's gonna generate great humor. She's gonna be one of those people. She's gonna be a great character. She's gonna be amazing for TV. But I definitely think her life experience is gonna count against her. Okay, let's move on. Next up we've got Martinez. Martinez, the 29-year-old investment advisor. Now I know you're very high on Martinez, Hannes. Let's hear why you think he's gonna do good.
Well, I think a few things which, in my opinion, counts for him. Being an investment advisor, you can see that he's a very smart gentleman. He's well built. I think he will bring a lot. In terms of physicality, it's something you really need, especially in the early stages, like you say, building shelter, all of those things. One thing which did concern me was perhaps his people skills. They might be lacking, but otherwise I think he can be an asset to any tribe.
I think the person on the cast who most closely associates with you is Martinez. He reminds me a bit about you. I'm going to tell you why I think Martinez, I don't say not going to go far, but why is a question mark for me? Okay, in his bio he says, I'm a what you see is what you get kind of person. Now, that might be true. But likewise, when you see these photos of him, he's got this slick suit, he's got the tie, he's got that almost, I want to say, slippery eel kind of look to him. So what he says and how he appears is polar opposite. So I'm interested to see which one is the true one, the slippery look or the genuine human. And then secondly, he said, you touched on his social skills, but he said he wants to be a leader, okay? And you can go back and watch seasons of South African Survivor or American Survivor or US or Iraq Survivor, not Iraq, what's that, Israel, those people have Survivor. Never or rarely does a leader of a tribe make it to the end, okay? Because the leader it's a strong person, they bond the tribe together, they get these guys on the right track, they make it deep, and as soon as you hit, like, I want to say that 10-12 kind of bracket, you say, okay, now it becomes an individual game. Now I have to take out the big threats. Who's the first guy with this big, massive, illuminating target on his back? The guy who said he was the leader. So you can't, like he said, he can't hide his size. But I think he said he's gonna be leader. I don't think that's the right move for him. I think his best move would be what you call the meat shield strategy, made by Jeremy Colemans, Jeremy the fireman who played Survivor Second Chance, who actually won. He had that strategy where he said, you know what, I'm a big guy, but my strategy is gonna be keep all the other big guys around. So he just voted out these small, weak people. And I think if Martinez executes a similar strategy, I think he might do well. You have anything to say on this?
I agree with what you say. Look, he is a strong natural leader. He definitely strikes one as such. But when it gets perhaps to a possible merge, there's 10 people left. And if I played the game, I'd definitely say, okay, well, who is the biggest threat for me to get in the top 5, the top 3, perhaps winning at the end? And then I'll slowly work my list, my way through all of the guys who's the biggest threat. So it's something which he can consider playing the game, but let's see.
Yeah, I agree with you. Okay. Next up is Marishka. She's a 34-year-old marketing manager. We don't have so much information about her, but she had a very short trailer from what we saw in the videos. But Hannes, where do you weigh on Marishka?
I think one of the things which counts for is she's, let's say, kind of like midlife. 33 is a nice place to be. You've got a lot of life experience, and it's one where you can easily relate to the younger members of the cast, but also towards the older members of the cast. So it's not as if you would be categorized some way or another.
So you're
And I
saying she's
think-
not going to alienate herself on her age. She's going to be in the middle where she can have a relationship with both parties.
Yes, and that makes her also very relatable. So I think if she plays her cards right, then she could really be a key member of any team, and again, perhaps even make it very far.
I think we should give her the benefit of the doubt. I think you're right. Two things I want to point out about her. One, she has children, so immediately if you have children, you know, you've I always want to say double your life experience, because you know that you learn a whole new part of life that many other people don't know. So I think that's definitely counting towards her. The fact that she has raised a family or is busy doing it, that gives her some social skills. The second thing I want to point out is I've spoken to a couple of people at work, or even my wife, and they all said, you know what, she's like me. You know, she's like me, and I think she's a very relatable person. I'm glad they've casted her, because you know a lot of these people are these polar extremes, and she's a normal person, and I think she's definitely gonna be a crowd favorite. And I think if she gets voted out, I think a lot of people are gonna be disappointed. Just broadly, where do you think she will place?
It's very difficult to say early on. I can't see her making the top 10, but I hope she proves me wrong.
Yes, I agree with you. Okay, next up we've got the 55-year-old HR executive Neil. Now, Hannes, I've already given you my opinion, but let you share your opinion on Neil, and then I'll go.
Look, I think if you have a look at Neil's profile and his videos, you can see he's a very fit and strong, athletic person. Says it himself, he's trained for the Ironman once he got the call to go to Survivor, then a few comrades. He looks also like a natural leader, someone who other people like and like to be around with. So I think he can make it very far. With age comes experience, but like you have your dirty 30s, you have your naughty 40s, and now your filthy 50s. The age might also be something.
What's next for him after that? The sad 60s, is that what you're saying?
It might be the sad 60s. I haven't thought that far. He's luckily only 55, so I have 5 years left. However, age might also be something which can potentially slow him down, especially in longer challenges. But I think he will come very far in the game if I just consider him with the footage which I've seen so far.
Yes, and honest, I'm going to tell you why I think he's going to go far, and I want you to really wrap your head around what I'm saying, okay? This guy's job, he's an HR executive, okay? Now, HR executives, they have two things that they do, okay? The first thing they do is they listen to people's sad stories, okay? So they sit in the office, and then comes this lady and said, you know what, my husband and I are going through a divorce, you know, it's very difficult for me to do my work, can I please have a couple of days off, you know, to just deal with this? And he goes, yes, you know, take as much time as you need. You know what? We won't take it from your leave. Nobody's going to know. Just, you don't even come to work. Take a week, sort it out. It's totally fine. So I think from one hand, he's got that empathy that you need to deal with Survivor, because people are going to have these emotional and physical breakdowns. And the second thing is, what's the second thing that HR executives or even any person in HR do? They retrench people. They walk up to a person and say, Stephen, can I see you in my office, please? And they say, Stephen, sorry, man, I'm afraid to say we've let you go. You know, it's tough, but we have to do it. Otherwise, we might lose the old company. So you've got 2 weeks. Pack up your stuff. And Stephen goes, but I just bought a house. You know, I just got a baby. How am I going to fend for myself? And you have to have that black heart to say, Stephen, you've got a 2-month severance package. We hope you use it well. Thank you. There's the door. And that is exactly the kind of killer instinct you need for Survivor. You need that, almost, I want to call it that brutal factor to say, listen, we've been sleeping side by side and sweating blood and tears for 33 days. I have to vote you out. And I think a lot of people don't have that killer instinct in this game, and I think somebody like Neil has, just due to his profession.
It's a very good point you make. Definitely, I think his occupation and what he does for a living might definitely stand him in good stead. So let's see where he goes. I think he'll definitely make a top 10. It's a bold suggestion, but definitely top 10 from my side.
Okay, next up we have Palesa. Now, Palesa is one of those people who've got an iconic look. She's a 28-year-old radio presenter. I know you let know that you like her, Hannes. What's your opinion on Palesa?
Yes, when I saw her, I immediately thought she's a very strong and confident woman, and especially that confidence can take her very far in the game. She looks like a person who is very sure of herself. One potential weakness is that people might see her as a threat, and then it gets easier to vote you out, because why? I need to win. I don't necessarily have to be the strongest player. I just need to be smarter. So if you are a threat to me, I will eliminate you in order so that I could be in the game longer. But strong, confident, I think she will do very well in the game, especially if she has good people skills. So let's see. I think it will be an interesting one to watch.
Yes, I want to touch on something you said about her being a strong person. I think she's very confident in her body, and I think she almost said it. She's like a bit of a feminist in the sense of, women can do it too. And I want to bring you back to Katinka. Now, if you take Palesa and you juxtapose her next to Katinka, okay? Katinka's a 19-year-old, say girl, let's say 19-year-old young woman, where Palesa, when she was 19-year-old, she was already raising a child, okay? So Palesa's life experience, even though she's only 28, I think her life experience, she's got a lot more of that than somebody like Katinka, who's, Palesa was wondering, how am I going to put food on the table for my child? Where Katinka's wondering, how am I going to get 50,000 followers on Instagram? It's two completely different worlds. And I think, like I said, Palesa's very comfortable. She's a strong woman. I think I would not be surprised if she goes and she talks to Shan Mei and even Katinka and maybe 20, and she said, listen, us ladies need to stick together. And she assembles this femme fatale alliance of ladies, picking off these big guys, and then just like maybe one or two smart plays cruise to the end. I would not be surprised if she makes it deep into this game.
I'm absolutely with you there.
Okay. Next up, we've got PK, the 28-year-old mining technician, all the way from Centurion. Hannes, I know you like him. Please tell us why you are high on PK.
My opinion is the following. He looks like a very down-to-earth, likable guy. Wears the South African flag with him. You look at him and you think he's a very also neutral guy, but he's not someone who will assume necessarily a natural leadership role, but he will still pull his weight. And that's a very dangerous player to play against, because he's not necessarily the biggest threat which you want to eliminate first, but he's also not the guy sitting at camp doing nothing, and he cruises through the game, and if he gets it perhaps to the top 10 and then have a few right alliances, then he might really make it very far. I like that he is a technician. It means that he can bring hands-on skills towards the challenges, towards the general group environment.
Even
so I
the
think
shelter building is a big asset that he brings.
Especially. So I think he will make it very far.
Yes, I think you've hit the nail on the head with his skills. I don't think I have to add anything there. The only, like you say, is a great guy. I think the only thing that counts against him is he's indicated that he's got some issue with people who want to challenge him or are like, who wants to be competition. And I think if he is not savvy enough to see, listen, I need to just back down, and if somebody triggers him and he takes the bait, and he starts an ego war, there might be some casualties, and he might be one of a fallen victim. So I think the crowd's gonna like him. I think he's relatable. He's almost, I want to say, everybody. Many people have things in common at the year. So I definitely think he's gonna at least make it past the early stages of the game. Do you agree?
I'm absolutely with you there.
Okay, next up, we've got the 25-year-old property broker from Durban. I would just like to stop here and say, how many people do we have from Durban? I can't, if quickly counting, we've got 5-6 people from Durban. Are these people's offices in Durban? Do they just want the people from Durban? Did they flew them out from King Shaka Airport saying if you come from Durban, you get a cheaper ticket, cutting the budget? I want to know why. Maybe if you want to get on Survivor, you must move to Durban, man. Go to the East Coast. Get a better chance at playing this game.
I also call prejudice there, but we can take it up with Mnet later.
Yeah, I think we should write a letter. Okay, no. So, Seamus, the 25-year-old property broker. Hannes, what's your opinion on him?
Look, looking at his video, again, we don't have too much information about him or any other contestants, really. He said that he wanted to be a villain. Now, if you look at the villains, the classic villains, Russell Hands from Survivor Samoa, he came in the top 3.
And he played again in Heroes vs. Villains, and he came top 3 again, right?
Again. And Boston Rob, probably one of the most famous. Now, Russell Hands, he only became the villain, so to speak, later in the game. Now, Seamus said in his video that he would like to be the villain from the get-go. Strategically, I do not think it is the best. Why? Because the first few days you need to get to know the people whom you are in a tribe with. Get to gain their trust and make a positive contribution. Not go out and divide and conquer. The divide and conquer and the villain strategy worked. We've seen it worked many a times. However, when it is done, it should be executed to perfection. And I don't think you should go out and be a villain from the get-go. My personal opinion, I think it's the wrong strategy.
I could not agree with you anything more. I'm not going to say too much. The only thing I do say is there's a thin line between confidence and arrogance, and especially in a game like Survivor, when you step over that threshold and you become arrogant, you narrow your vision, and that just sets you up for a big blindside. So if we see an episode about, let's say, 12 to 16 where they're showing him being all arrogant and getting blindsided, people can go and say hashtag DWL Survivor, you called it first, you heard it first. Okay. Next up, Stacey Lee. I would like to first stop when we speak about Stacey Lee. She's a 27-year-old BI developer, and I would just like to say that we don't want to share too much about ourselves, but I work in business intelligence as well, and it's very rarely that I've met somebody who says, listen, I work in BI. So whatever comes second, we've seen a video on YouTube, you can go check it out on YouTube. Whatever comes second, I'm going to say I like her because she does the same job that I do, and for that I think she's going to be one of the best players of the season.
I think, Lem, if you look at the audition video, which we saw on YouTube, in the Western Cape, driving there on the bakkie, she looks like a very likable person. But not only that, you could see that she's an extrovert who it looks as if she really does a lot for the people around her. And that could be a big strength and a big bonus in the game, because at the end of the day, Survivor is a people's game. The better your relationships are with people, the better you can, and later in the game also lie in the seat, the better your chances are of winning. And she fits that profile very well.
Not only that, I mean, we see her playing rugby. She said she likes touch rugby. She plays I think in the video it's like people tackling each other. It's crazy. So she's got that physical attribute as well. She's not saying, I'm going to be a competitor. She is a competitor already. And I think that gives her that physical edge that a lot of these other females lack at the moment.
I completely agree with you. And like you say, she comes from the Western Cape. Go to the Cape people. Well, luckily, one that she's not from all the way from KZN. And looking at her, she does not stand back for everything. She's already a competitor, and she looks like a very hands-on woman. And yes, some of the other female competitors might lack that aspect. So let's see where she goes.
No, I definitely think she's going to cut the mustard. One final thing I want to say, also a lot of the people I spoke to, all the people were very, they were fixated on her, saying, that girl, I like her, she's going to be good. So I think she's also going to be a crowd favorite, and I think she's going to be one of the people that if she gets voted out, there's going to be a lot of people going on Facebook, boo, they voted out her, I'm done with Survivor. So I hope she makes it deep. Okay, next up, Piven, the 24-year-old doctor. Hannes, what's your opinion on Piven?
Look, a few things. Sometimes it's not good to say what your occupation is on Survivor.
But sometimes. I almost want to say you never want to tell them what you really do, especially if you're in a high-income profession.
Yeah, so that's one thing. And what people don't realize is when you see a Survivor episode being filmed, you see 3 days worth of footage. So basically 72 hours worth of footage being pressed into 40 minutes. So there is hours.
Not only into 40 minutes, it's 16 or 18 people's perspective of those 72 hours. So it grows exponentially in terms of how much you have to cover.
So what we see when we see an episode being aired on television is really so little of what really happens. These people are at camp for days on end and hours on end, waiting for challenges, chatting with one another. And being a doctor, again, it's not necessarily something like PK, who is a mining technician, who can bring really hands-on stuff towards the party or towards the tribe. So I'm maybe a bit concerned about that. If he's an introvert, I'm not sure. I did maybe pick that up. I wish him all of the best, but I I don't see a top 10 for him, but I hope he proves me wrong.
I agree with you completely. I think it's one of those things like, let's say all things being equal. Okay, let's say these two people are equally good at challenges. You know, they're equally good at camp life. And the next filter is who needs the money. Okay, if you've got a doctor on this side and you've got a graphic designer on this side, you're gonna say, listen, that doctor, he pockets 900,000 rand a year. You know, he's gonna make it up in a year. Let's just get rid of him because he can make money later, and let's put the graphic designer in a position to win $1 million. But I think it's difficult to hide your intelligence. I agree with you completely. You should downplay the fact that he's a doctor. If I'm him, I would just say, listen, I'm a pharmacist, or I'm a male nurse, or something like that. I studied BSc biology. I want to become a veterinarian, something like that. To just downplay the fact that you know it, because you can't hide it. But if it does make it far, I won't be surprised. But I think if there's a 50-50 shot, I think he's going home early. I hope he doesn't, but that's just what we can't gaze into the crystal ball. That's just our opinion. You're sitting at home, comfortable in the aircon. Okay. Honest, another crowd favorite. Definitely, I can tell you, this guy is gonna be one of people are gonna be tweeting about. If they have a competition saying who did we like to see play the most, he's gonna be one of the top 3. The 41-year-old Tom, who runs an adventure camp. Honest, what's your opinion on Big Tom?
When I watched his YouTube video and also his video there on Mnet, I immediately found a liking in him. He's been married for a long while with a child. He chose determination. Like he said in his video, he's actually already a survivor, being an absolute outdoor enthusiast.
Sorry, I just want to interrupt you. I appreciate this guy's humor. You know, in those videos, he had these, always I want to call it under the radar kind of jokes, but he just keeps floating them in. And I really appreciated that about him.
And like you say, I think he's going to be a crowd favorite. He's really a likable person, and I think his skill set, you know, running an outdoor adventure camp, doing, let's say, survivor kind of things with groups, with school groups, with adults on a day-to-day basis. I think it gives him a certain competitive edge, which many of the other competitors definitely lack.
100% I'm with you. I think, like you touched on it with his wife, I think the fact, usually these big muscular men, you know, I'm outdoors, I'm drinking beer with the guys, I like hunting. You know, those kind of people, they very often have the inability to really connect with females. And the fact that he has been married for 16 odd years or something like that, it shows that he can connect with females. It shows that he has that ability. So I definitely think he's got the perseverance and the soft skills required for a game like Survivor. My thing is just, you know, if you're like him, you've got this massive bullseye on your back from the get-go because you're this big outdoor guy. So I don't see him having the social suave skills to navigate to the end, but I really think he's going to be massive entertainment.
I'm completely with you. I really, really, really hope he makes it very far.
Okay, next up we have Antoinette or Antonia. For a reason I just said, she indicated that she wants to be known as Tony. Or 20, sorry, not Tony, 20. 20, the 28-year-old content developer. We also saw a video on YouTube, Honest. Maybe you can shed some light on that.
What immediately caught my eye is that she looks like a very fun person to be around with. And that's an important thing in Survivor. Like I said previously, you are with the people 24/7. There's no, you know, going away, going to the malls, you know. So it helps to be a fun person whom other people can relate to easily and get along with easily. I think this is definitely a strength. Now, again, one of the weaknesses is that at the same time, people, well, they want their own space. They want to have their thoughts for themselves. So I think if she can strike that balance right between being a fun and approachable person, but at the same time not overburdening others with her presence, I think she can make it very far. I see her that she's already in her 50s, so she comes with a fair bit of life experience. She's also married. So I think she does bring a lot to the game, and it would be interesting to see how she do.
No, 100%. I think the biggest risk with somebody like 20 is she likes to talk a lot. And I'm afraid that she's, let's say somebody says, listen, I've got this idol, you know, let's use it. I'm afraid that she just blunders it out to somebody else. So if she can just keep her mouth under wraps and just zip it with all the confidential information, I can see her, you know, being like you said, an approachable person and going deep into the game.
I'm definitely with you there.
Okay. Next up we have Vusi. Now Vusi is a 38-year-old logistics manager. I've had a lot of people say, you know, he's that guy's like me. He's got a job like me. He looks like me. He does what I do. So I think he's gonna be somebody that people at home like. What do you think of Izzy?
I completely agree. He strikes you as the kind of guy who, when you go to the supermarket, you will see and you will chat about everything which happens the weekend. A very likable, relatable guy. I don't know if he has the natural leadership abilities which maybe some of the other male contestants have, but I don't think he will be someone who will be difficult to get around with, and I think he might be an asset. I'm just maybe concerned that there will be some other alpha males within the tribes who might be able to push him to a side. That's the only concern I really have.
Yes, and I think a similar thing to watching his video. He said that he's very caring about his family. You know, he wants to provide for the tribe, and I think, you know, a lot of times you can get lulled into that kind of trap where you think that you know people are appreciating you for what you bring, and they're actually just using you. So I'm afraid that he might not have the technical of the cutting edge killer instinct to say, listen, I've provided for you, but now I have to make a move. And I'm afraid for him, if he does not make a big flashy move in the mid game, that he just gets dragged to the end and sits at the final tribal council and we're like, why are you still here, man? So I really hope he makes some good plays and that people don't take advantage of his goodwill and his good intent.
Definitely, yes. Well, let's see. All of the best.
Okay, and then finally, we've got the 34-year-old Werner the Pastor. Hannes, would you like to tell us more about Werner?
Werner, again, he strikes me as a person who can make it very, very far in the game. Like us, he lacks the good English tone. He also speaks his English.
What are you talking about, man? I would just like to say, I don't think between the two of us, we've maybe assembled the most Afrikaans English podcast there is out there. I think there's people sitting at Bloemfontein laughing at us saying, yo, listen to those losers speak Afrikaans.
So I think if you see Werner on the street or in the Kentucky drive-thru, he'll also be one, and you can see on the video, who has the big Afrikaans accent. I think he can make it far in the game. However, he should be very careful as to disclose too much about what he is doing. He mentioned that he likes it if people confides in him, and he is a very trustworthy person. That's also what I gather.
May I interrupt you?
Of course.
Okay. I'm gonna tell you, and I'm gonna make a prediction. If I'm wrong, people are gonna be down like in the hate slide, going, "Oh, Lem, you're such a loser. You don't know anything." I predict that this guy is not going to win for the simple reason, like you touched on. This guy is a pastor. Okay. Now, when I heard he's a pastor, I told my wife, I said, "Listen, the last thing that this guy should do is tell people that he's a pastor." And what's the first thing on that 1 minute thing? He said, "I'm going to be the pastor." Okay. Now, two things are going to happen. Okay. And I'm going to explain to you why it's not going to win. Okay. Number one, how do you win Survivor? Okay. You don't win Survivor by getting to the end. That's easy. You win Survivor by getting to the end, but placing people during this continuous process on the jury that will actually vote for you. Okay. Now, if you're a pastor, the people are going to be like, they're going to say, listen, they're going to confide in you. Like you said, they're going to say, you know what, Pastor Werner, I have to come clean. You know what, I've cheated on my husband, you know, I've been unfaithful. It's such a difficult thing for me to deal with. You know, here in this island, I've got a lot of introspection. And he's going to say, yo, you know what, don't worry, you know, love will cure it, work on your relationship. And then if he at some point votes this lady out, let's say 8 or 7 or whatever, and sets it at the final tribal council, that lady from the jury is going to say, I told you everything. I shared my heart secrets with you. And what did you do, Pastor? You voted me out. You lied to me. You cut me off. I hate you. I never want to see you again. And for that reason, I don't see this guy having any chance once he tells the people he's a pastor. The second thing, and it's related to the first issue. This is a game about lying and deceiving, okay? As soon as people know you're a pastor, they're going to say, oh, you're a pastor, now you're lying to me. And so immediately, they have a negative image about you. And I cannot see somebody like this being open about his profession, playing a game of cheating and deceiving, making to the end and win. I want to make a prediction and say this guy's got a big 0 chance of winning. I like him. I think he's gonna go far. I'm not saying I don't appreciate him. I'm saying telling people you're a pastor is the worst thing you can do in this game. What do you think?
I don't disagree with you, but I think he need to play his cards very well and very carefully, of course. Sometimes it is strategically good if people confide in you, because then you get info from the tribe and you get info which other players in the tribe might not necessarily have. So depending on how he plays his cards and depending on his social skills moving through the game, if he makes it past the beginning, in the midway and then perhaps later towards the end game, depending on how he plays his cards, he might make it far. I mean, he's a big guy. He brings the physicality.
I do not disagree with his ability to make it far. Look, you can catch more flies with honey than you can with vinegar. We know this. He can be the most approachable person. I'm just extremely skeptical of his plan to tell him he's a pastor and make it to the end and win the game. I do not see that happening.
Well, we'll have to wait and see, eh?
None of us can gaze into a crystal ball. Okay, honest, we're about at the end of the podcast. We've spoken about this quickly earlier, but now we're gonna get into you and I are gonna have a little bit of a man what do we call it? A man conversation. Can you quickly tell the people who you think is your winner pick, and I will tell my winner pick, and then we'll maybe make a friendly wager. Okay, honest, you can go. Let us know who you think is gonna win this season.
Okay, looking at all the videos and all the contents which we have so far, my pick for the win is PK. Like I say, he's young, he's fit, he brings a lot of physicality to the game, so he can definitely be an asset in any tribe which he lands in. Firstly, and secondly, I don't see him going out and playing alpha male natural leader style. He will be a key component wherever he is, but he won't be so that he's a threat and people want to vote him off. If he makes it to the top 5, top 6, and he makes a move at the right time, I think he might be the winner, and I'm rooting for him.
So you're voting for PK the Patriot with a South African flag. What a guy.
That's my man, yes.
Okay, I'm going to tell you, I think my man is going to beat your man. I've also got a man as my winner pick. My winner pick is the 55-year-old Neil. Okay, now if you've listened to my previous story, the HR exec, this guy's got everything, This guy's got a stacked deck in his favor, He's got everything going for him. If the dice rolls correctly in his favor in a swap and he doesn't get some weird kind of twist, or he doesn't get medevaced, if this guy can just play his cards smooth and he can just cruise to the end, he can easily say, I'm a 55-year-old guy who kicked your asses. Please give me $1 million. And there's going to be a standing ovation. People are going to say, Neil, you are a legend. I want to give my vote for you. You deserve $1 million. Okay. Now, honest, we've debated a couple of scenarios. What do you think we should put on this wager of which of our persons are going to go farthest, our winner picks?
I haven't actually really thought that through. I think perhaps we should throw it open to the public and hear what the people say. And then at the end of the series, then depending on the ideas which we get, we can do something fun.
Okay, so what you're saying is we should tell people to go on Twitter and just tweet us and tell us what kind of thing we should bet, and we'll see what happens from there. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, give us a few good ideas, we'll consider it, and then whichever idea is the most popular and reasonable, we'll definitely be up for it. I mean, I know I'm not one to back down for a challenge, knowing you as well, it's the same, this is the things we live for, so yeah, why not?
Okay, so on that note, if you wanna hit us up and let us know what you think we should wager, between PK and Neil, you can tweet on us at JHLarem. That's 8JHLarem. You can hit him up on Twitter. You can hit up me on @D_Lem, or if you're English, @Die_Lem. Tweet us, let us know what you should have as our challenge, what the loser should do or what the winner gets to do. And if you want to give some opinion or feedback on this video or this podcast, you can use the hashtag DWL Survivor or the hashtag the hashtag DissectWithLem. Hannes, any last thing you want to say before we close this out? Anything you're excited about the season or you're hoping to see?
Look, like any new season, at the start of any new season, there's so much really to look out for. firstly the challenges, the tribes, the different setup of the tribes. You know, how will things go? How will things progress? We've maybe made a few right calls on personalities. We might have made a
I
few.
also want to say I definitely think we made a few wrong calls as well. We'll get the hate mail once it happens. Once Katinka's 40,000 people storm our house and say, "Listen, you said something bad about Katinka."
But I mean, so I think we probably did make a few right calls this evening, a few wrong ones as well. So the excitement to really now sit and wait and see how all of this pans out. That's really what I'm the most excited for.
Okay, that's honest. Thank you so much, honest. I will be making a last video as part of this preseason package of mine, which I will be doing a eviction list where I'm saying who's going to go out at 18, 17, so forth, and that's also going to be a fan driven competition, fan driven by us. You can go onto that competition. I'll make a video. If you want to participate, you just go on Google, you write in who you think's your top 6, and the person with the most points win. Honest, you're gonna enter into this competition, right?
Of course, again, I still just need a good prize for if I win, but I'm definitely
for this competition. I think I've narrowed it down. For this competition, I think if you enter and you win, I will either make 1, 2, 3 or just a single prize, but it will definitely be a buff delivered to you if you win the fan made competition that I'm gonna create. Hannes has got Tika, I've got Neil. If you want to see who my remaining 5 people are for top 5, check out that video is gonna come next. Hannes, yeah, that's it. I think I'm gonna call it quits. Any last words just for a goodbye?
No, all of the best. Cheers, eh?
Alright guys, okay, take care, good day, good evening, bye bye.